how do I price correctly my property for long-term rentals in the main cities of Brazil to put it fast and easily on the market. Let's find out with a pro tip in today's video. Welcome investors, I'm Lorenzo Tosini, the founder of Grow Abroad Consulting and Investments. We work mainly with companies that expand abroad their operations, expanding their sales internationally in several different countries. So we also work with capitalized investors that want to expand their investments in international emerging markets, especially Brazil. Why Brazil? I've traveled countless countries in my line of work in the last 6 years, traveling from Seattle in the state of Washington up to New Delhi in India. The country that I found to stand out by far compared to the rest with rental property investments is Brazil. So I decided to invest my resources in Brazil and invest in real estate in Brazil. And why not expand with our customers, and also to expand for our clients this type of personal shopper service at an international level. So today the topic is, how do I price correctly my property so that it doesn't stay there listed for months waiting someone to rent it out. So the main idea is to have your property stand out. Why? Because if your property looks like everyone else's property, I mean, here you will see in the listings, we'll see in a couple minutes, the properties are not well decorated on average. So if you invest in decoration to let it stand out, for sure you will have a tactical advantage. To be successful at renting easily and quickly, you need to understand how is your competition operating. So you can check how are presented the other apartments in the same building or in the same area. So comparable apartment, what's their price? What's their asking price? But it's not that interesting what's their asking price as it is what's the real point of where supply and demand meet and a negotiation is closed for a rental apartment. Here today we are talking about long-term rentals, okay? We have spoken about short-term rentals in other videos. For example, you can check out this video. But today we are talking specifically about long-term rentals that in Brazil are typically around 30 months contract, 3 years. So the idea is to be quick at renting your property because the vacancy is a cost. We all know that, right? So today we'll use a specific platform that is one of the most famous platforms in Brazil that is called Quinto Andar. That means translated fifth floor, okay? So this platform is free. So there is no cost at doing this. We'll check it out right now. So in Quinto Andar, you can find property for sale, property for rental, and also you can put your own listing, okay? But the interesting part is that this platform is gonna show you the value at which similar property to yours were rented in the last months, okay? And that is a specifically interesting information that you can use to set up your successful rental pricing strategy. Just a disclaimer before we move on, we are not brokers, so if you wanna talk to a real estate agent, you gotta go to a real estate agency. We provide personal shopper services, so all the strategies to invest your money in Brazil successfully at a broader level. So what we are gonna see now is the prices of a few rentals just to give you an idea. What's the asking price, but also the package price and the rental price. What's the package price? The package price in Brazil, pacote, is meant as the rental price plus the IPTU, which is the municipal tax, and then the property tax paid monthly or yearly, and also the condominium fees, the HOA fees, all right? So you have a package. Usually the tenants, they want to know the package. So the condominium fees are an important variable, but the main component of the package, of course, is the rental price, the asking price. So our advice is always, none of this is financial advice, but our advice is to price your rental property around 20% higher than the price that you want to get to, okay? Of course, to do this correctly, you need to see what your competitors are asking as a price, because it's an open market, right? So every tenant that is looking for a property to rent will be able to see the prices of your competitors as well. But as mentioned before, if you play correctly with a professional photos and a decoration, and in the best possible decoration, you will stand out and will be able to rent it faster and at a higher price compared to the average with those hospital ugly lamps that they put to save money, right? If you want to know more about investing successfully in Brazilian real estate, click on the link in the description and set up your strategy session with Grow Abroad. Also, if you want to know more about investing in Brazil, click on like and subscribe to the channel. So let's now get into the action. So we'll see step by step how to set up the correct pricing. So you go on Quintandar, okay, and then you set up the area that you want to look for, analyze. In my case, Brooklyn is interesting, okay. Then here you have these buttons. So alugar, to rent, aluguel is the rent, types of rental properties, a quantity of bedrooms, then is garage spots, bathrooms, or more filters, okay? Of course, to use this function that we are going to show you, just have to log in with your register to the website. You can, for free, you can use your Gmail account or Gmail address. So in my case, it's interesting to analyze properties that have one bedroom and also between 20 and 30, I've already put it before, 20 and 30 square meters. You can set it up here, area, maximum area, or the range of the area that you want to set up for, to compare correctly with your apartment. Because if you have a 25 square meter apartment, it doesn't make any sense to compare it to the rental values of a 90 square meter apartment, even if they are in the same area, right? So you filter, and then here you have the properties that are in this range available for rent, okay? So if you want to check one out, let's see, you want to check out something like this, okay? I open this one. And then here you have an overview. So the package total is the package as we've seen before, rental, aluguel, plus condominium, which is condominium fees, HOA fees, IPTU, which is the municipal tax, the property tax, and then the insurance against fire, and so on and so forth. So, but what's interesting to us is even more than this, is this baby over here. This function is amazing for us as investors. So you just click on this function, okay? And you will see precious information over here. So these are similar apartments available on the platform, but this is where it gets interesting. Já negociados, which means already negotiated, already closed deals. So if you click on over here, you will see similar apartments, look at here, in the same building, alugado en julio 25. So rented out in July 25, which was 2 months ago. So you have a pretty precise idea of what is the point where demand and supply truly meet in this segment of the market, okay? So we are not just in the Brazilian market, we are in São Paulo's market, in Brooklyn's market. In the same building, you can get to know what was the price that worked correctly to close the rental deal, okay? So here you can see the price of the rental closed successfully in July was 2,600 reais, so 2,600 reais, and the package was closed, so the rent plus the other fees that the tenant has to pay was closed at 3,270 reais. Okay, so let's get back to the listing. They are announcing it as a very similar price, so it's highly likely that they are gonna close this deal. But let's get back here. Already negotiated. So you can also not just see one, but also another one in the same building. Okay, these are very, very cold colors. I mean, this is nothing shiny, nothing fancy, nothing getting the tenant's attention with a differentiating decoration, right? So imagine if you give a specialist touch in this, so to this. If you decorate it in a way that it's gonna stand out, of course that it's gonna be faster to rent your apartment out, and also to charge a quite higher value compared to this average of said hospital lighted apartment, right? So this was rented out for 2,850 reais, just the rent. But what's interesting that it has been rented out at a higher price, even if it's a lower square meter. I mean, it's a smaller apartment, so it doesn't mean that if you have a smaller apartment, you cannot charge more than one that has a 3 square meter apartment. This is a very important point to mark, because sometimes when you invest, you pay 2, 3, 4 square meters more in addition, but you pay those square meters, but it doesn't mean, even if you're in the same building, that you can rent it out for a higher price than a guy that bought a smaller apartment, slightly smaller apartment. So always be careful on how to extract the maximum yield out of your investment property. Okay, this is a typical example. Why? Because probably I cannot check this one out because it's already closed. If you click on the link here, it's going to open. It's not available, right? It says it's not available because it's off the market now because it has been rented. So the decoration probably in this apartment it has caught the attention faster of one of the tenants or potential tenants, right? So if we go on, 263 meters distance. So in the same area, we can see other apartments that have been closed, the rental that have been negotiated correctly and finalized, right? So this is a pro tip that you won't find anywhere else, probably on the YouTube in English. So getting back to the pricing strategy, the idea is always to check this che prezzo, this what price tool in the Quinton.dar platform, and then establish a strategy to get to the rental price that you want to get. And of course that is feasible, because with this tool you can check the feasibility of the asking price to become the closing price, okay? So of course you need to put some safety margin. So when you list your property, let's say that you want to charge 3,000 reais, okay, for your studio apartment in Brooklyn, let's say, or in Italy it's much higher, but just to give an idea. Okay, you want to charge 3,000 reais, perfect. So you account for 20% more as a safety margin. So we are talking about 3,600 as a starting asking price. And then if 1 week or 2 weeks goes by and you don't even receive a contact, okay, you get progressively lower with the price. But you have to know what's the point where demand and supply meet in that area, in that building, with the same configuration or with a similar configuration at 200, 300 meters distance, okay? This tool will allow you to operate successfully and to know the right strategy, okay? To formulate the right strategy for your rental property. As mentioned before, I mean, we can check out some listings, but you will find that many Brazilians, especially, they invest in an apartment, and when the apartment gets ready, they don't think much about setting up the right decoration or to stand out from the crowd with their listing. So they put a basic decoration, and the tenants, they look at this stuff. So if they look at an apartment that really stands out from the rest, they're gonna contact the owner of this apartment or the agency that is going to be used for to rent out this apartment much more frequently. Then it's much more likely that we'll contact this guy first than the rest. Okay, if they want to live, if they already selected the area, they're gonna contact the guy that has the best price and best looking apartment, of course. So it's key to make your apartment stand out. Besides choosing the right price, it's not just about the price, it's also about the decoration strategy and the photos, okay? It's worth it to invest a few hundred reais with a professional photographer so that not only the decoration is better, but it's even more empowered the effect. I mean, it's enhanced the effect of the listing. And that's going to allow you to rent it out much more quickly than the rest of the other owners. So this is already a pretty decent apartment, but as you can see, it's nothing fancy, nothing exaggerated. They could have placed a LED light over here. It's not going to cost much, but makes a great effect. This is very new. I mean, it's the fridge is packaged. These are common areas. Of course, it's always good to show common areas of the building, because they provide so much values to the tenants. As mentioned in another video, the video that you can see here in clicking on the screen, this model of apartments, they are for locals, because I mean, international people, they want a big apartments. They are used to a big apartments in Europe, in the United States. They don't want to live in small places like this. But you need to be stone cold rational investor and understand that these small apartments are 80% of the sales in São Paulo, for example, because compact apartments below 40 square meters. Because this is, I mean, the way of life that today can be seen in Brazilian cities. The progressively smaller apartments, up to even 15 square meters. I know that you are not going to live there, but these are very, very interesting, these small apartments, for the rental property, the rental yield potential, okay? Because you invest, we always repeat the same sentence. It's just a matter of what gets inside the investment box and what comes out of the investment box, okay? Disclaimer, we are not selling any property, any rental over here. We're just showing you this for informational purposes, okay? These are other neighborhoods, so if you want to check out, let's say you want to check out Moema, okay, which is another interesting neighborhood, okay? And you want to see out of this is a very rich area in Moema, because also markets, I mean also areas in Sao Paulo have sub-areas that distinguish one from the other. So this area has a price, even if all of this is Moema. So this is way cheaper than here, and here is way cheaper than here, because here you are close to the park, outside of the airplane noise, okay? So I check out here, you can see higher prices in some cases compared to what we were looking before. Again, I want to see, this is super small, I mean, let's see. I want to use this function, again, just to show you another example. So this is the price of the rental, the rent price just at 4,000 reais. So what's interesting, this has been closed, okay, 27 meters, same square meters, same building. It has been closed for a value of 3,400, okay? So meaning that this guy on the left is leaving a safety margin, but here probably knows that he will have to lower the price down to 3,400 to close the deal, to close the rental agreement, okay? So another one in the same building, 3,200, 3,300, the same building, okay? 168 meter distance, 3,200. You can see they are in the same range, even if, again, look at this. This is 21 square meters. So this guy here has invested less than the previous guys that have paid 5 square meters more, but he is renting out more or less at the same value. So this is a super interesting point. Once again, if you invest in a bigger apartment, it doesn't mean you'll have a higher yield. Why? Because usually more compact apartments in the right location can deliver a better yield if they are decorated well and all set up with the correct strategy, of course. 26 meters, again, 1 meter distance, 1 square meter difference, close by, 3,000 reais, okay? We are in a similar range, okay? So this guy, of course, is leaving a safety margin. If you want to know more about investing successfully in Brazilian real estate, click on the link in the description and set up your strategy session with Grow Abroad. Also, if you want to know more about investing in Brazil, click on like and subscribe to the channel.